Let's face it, Sorrentino is either loved or hated for his movies. For sure, he takes all the time he needs to tell his story, and these at times can be quite exhausting for whoever's watching it. Not everyone, in fact, appreciates the pace of his movies and his obsession with detail. Just think about it. Half of Italy loved La Grande Bellezza, whereas the other half just didn't warm to it. The motivation was there, but according to many, the movie was too slow and the couch too comfortable to avoid falling into a comatose state. That's why when È stata la mano di Dio begins, you're not surprised by its slowness. Actually, you take it for granted. You think it's just his way of thinking about movies, and since you bought the ticket, you've made your bed and now you must lie in it. So, you let yourself be carried away by the camera, which moves slowly over Naples' landscape and Sorrentino's family. A typical one, with all the peculiarities and family drama expected. His parents are portrayed as a couple who love each other, bound by small everyday habitual tasks, but with a flair of turbulence that marks their vulnerabilities, which they have learned to live with after years of marriage. They are sweet and attentive to their children, while maintaining reservation at the same time. Sorrentino portrays an affectionate description of his adolescence, which goes on, however, without any particular flick. If it wasn't for his biography, we would wonder what Sorrentino's purpose is. However, things begin to change towards the middle of the movie. The plot twist comes when you expect it, but not in the way you have predicted. The parents die without making a sound, surrounded by the silence of their room in Roccaraso. The same silence that strikes our hearts when Paolo is told of their death. At that moment, you realize you feel a deep void, the terrible and painful emptiness of someone who realizes that from now on, that presence you took for granted will no longer be there. From now on, you understand how much Sorrentino's parents were a slight and constant presence for their young boy, in the same way all parents are for their children. However, as a child, you are not able to notice the silent stability they bring to your life. In fact, while watching the movie, you almost feel like going back in time to when you and your family used to share the little habits of everyday life, without wondering if they would last forever or not, just simply living them. That's why that moment is so powerful, albeit silent. It feels like our spinal column has been removed, and we have to balance on our own skin. You realize that young Sorrentino will have to learn the art of perseverance, and that he will have to look to the future, as his brothers and the Baroness tell him. It would be easier to talk about the mourning the protagonist is going through, but the truth is that it's not a movie about death, but about rebirth. La mano di Dio, the hand of God, referring to the football player Maradona, saved his own life and, most importantly, gave him the opportunity to grow and learn to stand on his own feet. After the tragedy of his parents' untimely death, he became a grown-up, as his sister said. Even his case is different. He first was a boy who wanted to study philosophy without really knowing anything about it, and now he only wants to realize his dream of becoming a director, even if it is a crazy idea. From being a shy and reserved boy, he now faces Antonio Capuano head-on in order to get what he wants. "I don't like reality anymore," he tells him. "Reality is poor. I want a new one, imaginary, like the one I had before. That's why I want to make movies." Paolo teaches us not to be afraid of suffering, because no matter how intense the pain is, you always come out transformed. He talks about wanting to create a new imaginary reality, not realizing that just talking to Capuano, he is already making real what was previously only in his dream. Enduring and overcoming suffering changes your perspective of reality, making it poorer actually, but it can also strengthen your conviction to become a new person. and that fear of the unknown that you used to have finally turns into a challenge with yourself that you are able to face head on. Thank you for listening. For any information, please send an email to teampsyche@gmail.com.